Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's watch list preview. Sorry I didn't get a video out last week. I was pretty sick. I'm still not completely 100%, but I'm definitely better than I was. But I got a watch list here for you. Um, be honest with you, I didn't find much. I usually scan for inside setups. I think my scan showed. I think there were maybe 24 inside setups. A lot of those were things that I'm just not comfortable trading, things I've never heard of. So I don't know. They're probably not going to have good spreads. Um, so I just kind of ignored those, and I kind of dug in a little bit deeper to find some more scans. So here's my watch list for this week. I have Roku, AFRM, and Target, and I'll talk a little bit about this SMA bounce with Target. It looks like a potentially good setup, and you notice all these are to the upside. Um, don't take that as me saying that I think that we're done with this pullback. We may very well open Monday morning and continue selling off, but I wasn't comfortable with the setups I found. I wasn't as confident in the setups I found, and if I don't have the confidence, I'm not going to put them in there and say, hey, there's a chance we drop Monday, so I threw this one on there too, just in case. If I'm not comfortable with it, I'm not going to put it on the list. So I don't have anything that I was real comfortable with to the downside, and part of that was because the candles were so huge to the downside. There were things I could look at for 2-2 reversal to the upside, but the problem is that the candles were so huge. For instance, this just to get back to a 2-2 to the upside, we have to move up uh, almost $10 on Microsoft. Um, I think by the time we would get to that $10 move, if we would even get there this week, there'd just be so many people taking profit that you'd lose momentum, and I don't know that you get much past that if you even get to that. So for that reason, I don't put that stuff on there on my watch list. Uh, so the potential 2-2 reversals, uh, just didn't have what I was looking for on. I'm trying to figure out why I have these on here for Microsoft, because Microsoft isn't on my watch list. I may have just forgot to take them off. Take those off now. Um, I just don't like something has to move so far before it even triggers. So I'm not going to put it on there. So let's take a look at the watch list again. Roku is the first one. Take a look at Roku. If we look at the yearly chart, it's not pretty. Look at the quarterly chart, it's not pretty. Look at the monthly chart, it's not pretty. Look at the weekly chart. I do like the weekly chart. I do not like the longer term charts. But I do like the hammer that we're shown on the weekly chart. You see we have broadening formation. I drew it off of the bottom of this past week's low. And we have this outside candle here back to this outside candle here for my upper line of the broadening formation. So looking for a break above, and all stocks have a tendency to want to pull back to the 9 SMA or any SMA, but 9 is one of the popular ones. You can use the 8. Some people use the 3. You can use the 20, whatever it is. But a lot of people or a lot of things look to move back to the 9 SMA. When you're this far away, it acts like a magnet pulling it back towards it. That, along with this hammer candle, makes me think that this will be a nice setup. So I'm looking for a break above 238.27. If we go down to the daily chart, we're also below it on the daily. Target one is going to be this. We could have used this high here, but it's close enough to this one. I went with this one. 245.30. Target 2 is a big red candle up here to 264.20, and that puts us in the gap on the daily chart. The gap fill on the daily chart is going to be 269.29. Next target after that is going to be 279.30, and the next one after that is going to be 283.88. That's a huge move. We're talking $45 move from trigger. Will we get that? I don't know. In 1 week, we will eventually, but this week probably not. But I think this is a nice setup. We have a little bit of room to move up to the 9 SMA on the daily, but again, the weekly, a lot of room to get back to that 9 SMA. We may do one of these. We may come up to the 9 SMA, go a little bit, break a little bit above it, and start dropping again. But we don't care about what happens past this week. If we can get up to that 9 SMA this week, we made some money. So, and this is kind of what I've been, I've been talking in my videos before that I've mentioned that I'm kind of working on something else. Well, this 9 SMA is kind of what I'm talking about. This is a 9 SMA here. This is a 21 SMA here. And this is just a shaded area to show you the trend, just so I could see it at a quick glance. Most people just don't have these shaded in. That's all. That's the only difference. Okay, AFRM's the next one. AFRM on the weekly, we have another nice hammer candle. You look at the year, not much to go off of. Just one candle. Quarter, not great on the quarter. It's still 2 up and it's green, but it's trying to form a shooter. On the month hasn't been great. It's a 2 up, but it's an ugly looking 2 up. If you look at the week, we have a nice hammer candle following an inside. We had an outside followed by an inside followed by a 2 down with a hammer. Very nice tight hammer. So this is a good time to mention market psychology, looking at candles. What this shows you is when this candle opened, the bears were all excited to sell. Bears came in and sold and sold and sold. Bears were in control. Bulls couldn't do anything. Once it hit this level, the bears kind of ran out of stuff to sell, and the bulls said, yeah, we're going to buy it here. Bulls took over. Bulls are in control. As of this candle closing, bulls are still in control. Does that mean they'll be in control Monday morning? I don't know. But bulls are definitely in control towards the end of last week. If we look at the daily, you can see the last 3 days, as bad as Friday was, AFRM still had a nice move to the upside. So bulls were really buying this stuff up. So go back to the weekly, looking for a break above 137.39. Target 1, if we go back to the daily, target 1 is the high of this candle here at 139.13. It's about a $1.80 move. Target 2, we have this big red candle here. Target 2 is going to be 149.17. We actually have a gap here. We have a small gap here. I didn't catch that the first time. The low is 149.90, so we're gonna actually have gap fill right here. Just put gap fill. So 149.90 is going to be the gap fill target. I'll change that on here too. Target 2, 149.90 gap fill. Target 3. I'll change that to target 4. All right, fix that one. So that's what we're looking at for AFRM. I usually have a spike here. Don't usually. I used to have a spike here. This spike here shows when their SMAs cross. But I used to have a spike here that I created that would show anytime there was a gap. And I quit using it because I kind of quit trading gap stuff, gap trades. And I didn't pay much attention to it, so I just took it off my charts. But it was set to show anything a penny or greater gap. But yeah, I didn't see this one, but there's a nice gap there. So that'd be a nice target to shoot for here at 149. What is it? 149.90. Actually, I gotta fix this because this is backwards. This should be 149.17, and then over here is 149.90. There we go. That's better. So definitely liking this AFRM trade potential with this weekly chart. And then the last one is Target. And the reason I have Target on here, it doesn't look great, but I have a scan. If you look over here, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, I'll do another full-blown video on this. I created a scan a few weeks ago because price always tends to migrate back towards the SMA, the 9 SMA, whatever, 9, 8, 21, whatever it is. So I created a scan that looks for stuff that's in an uptrend that recently pulled back and broke below the 9 SMA. And in fact, I have it set for the trigger when it touches the 11 SMA, which shows that it came down a little bit below the 9 SMA. And then look for it to poke back to the upside, pop back to the upside. I have one set also for bearish plays that looks for it to come up and then shoot right back down. I don't want to go into too much detail because it'll make this video way too long and probably boring. But I found this one using that scan. Doesn't mean it's going to jump back to the upside. But what I'm looking for is if it does, it's going to give us a 322 reversal. And we'll be back above the SMAs. You see the 50 down here, so we're above the 50 already. We'd be above the 9 and 21. So looking for a break above the 251.68. And then we go down to the daily and look for our targets. Target here is the inside candle at 253.88. Next target's this candle here at 256.64. The next one's going to get us to the start of this gap here on the daily chart at 257.17. The next one will be the gap fill up here at 262.74. And beyond that would be the high of this candle and the high of this candle. So that's what I'm looking at for this week's watch list. Only 3 things on this watch list. But they're the 3 that I felt were the best that I found. Not saying there aren't other setups out there that might work better, but based on my scans, there weren't. I usually scan for inside weeks. There weren't as many because of Friday. Friday kind of wiped out any inside weeks that there might have been. So there weren't many to go off of. So I started looking for some other setups. And this is what I found. There's only 3 on here, but there's some nice moves, nice ranges. I mean, you look here, the first target here is a $7 move. First target here is only about $1, not even $2. But if it hits the second target, we're looking at a $12 move. On this one's only a $2 move on the first target, $5 to the second target. So if you catch any of these, you should, if you're trading the weeklies, you should be able to make some pretty good money on these. So. Even if you only catch one of these, that should be a pretty good setup. So, and that's what I'm looking for. I'll do another video when I'm a little bit more comfortable with sharing this. It's not that I don't want people to see it. I don't care. I share everything. I just want to get a little bit more confident in it. It's working for me so far. I don't necessarily use these scans as much. I have them up and let them populate during the day. But this is the kind of thing. It was pretty ugly looking. CRM. Yeah. Oh, you know why this went till the end of the day when the market was closed. That's why. I said, why does it look so funny? If we go to market close, we're looking about right here for a market close. It probably triggered. This is for the bear side. It probably triggered right here when this popped up here, and then look for it to shoot back down, which it did. So I'll do another video on that when I'm a little bit more comfortable with how well it works. I've been using it now for a few weeks, and it's been working good for me. So, All right. Thanks for watching, and good luck this week, and see you later. Bye.